Welcome back to our Wealthy Mindset, where we talk about all things money, mindset, and business. It's your host, Cindy, your fractional CFO and financial bestie. And today I had the opportunity to chat with Scarlett Stanhope. She's known as the Biz Hippie. She teaches coaches to conquer their finances and own their worth so they can be fully supported by the work that they love. Scarlett harnessed the power of money to break free from her workaholic career and pursue her dreams. She uses a combination of tangible money management strategies as well as a variety of coach techniques to help her clients transform their mindset and relationship to money, allowing them to strategically achieve their goals. So let's get into it. Hi, Scarlett. Thanks for joining me on her Wealthy Mindset today.
Hi, Cindy. Thanks for having me. I'm super excited for this conversation.
Could you share a little bit about yourself and how you support your clients?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hey, everybody. My name is Scarlett Stanhope, aka the Biz Hippie, and I am an abundance coach. So, what I do is I help my clients to really transform their relationship with money from the inside out. And I love to combine two powerful sides of money and aspects of money together. And that is the intangible side of money. That's your mindset, your belief system, your patterning around money. And I love to combine that with the tangible side of money, which is managing, tracking, being aware of, and being strategic and intentional with your money. And I find when you combine both these aspects, the intangible and the tangible, it leads to really powerful transformation to help my clients shift into abundance and really be in control of their money and use their money to create the lives they want to live and manifest the life that they really want to live.
Wow, that's so amazing. And I feel like it's much needed.
Totally. I mean, in this day and age, it's like money is usually the number one thing that holds people back from doing the things they want to do. So, if we can overcome these money hurdles so that we can say yes to going all in on our businesses, traveling, leaving unfulfilling jobs, that's what we need to do. We need more of that in this life.
And what made you like start that type of work? Was it something that you struggled with, like with your journey with money, or did you have a healthy relationship with money growing up?
Yeah, money definitely played a role in. I have had a challenging relationship with money, which is really interesting because so many people could look at me and say that I actually have a good relationship with money,
Mhm.
that I was really good with money because
Yeah.
I started working at a really young age. I put money into savings. I was managing restaurants by the time I was 18 and I was like saving up a bunch of money. I paid for college out of pocket, like all by
Wow.
myself and had no student loans and like had used my credit cards really strategically and intentionally. So I had really good credit. So on the surface, I looked like I was really good with money.
Mhm.
But at the same time, this idea of like money and success and perfectionism was really dictating my life. So even though I was like achieving these financial goals and on paper my life looked really great, it was like this idea of chasing this finish line of more and more and more. And someday I'll be fulfilled. Someday I'll be
Mhm.
happy. Someday I'll get to live the life I really want to live, but not now. Now I just need to chase money and eventually I'll arrive and will feel good. And that finish line never came. And it took me a
Right.
while to wake up and realize, like, oh, I'm living right now. It's up to me to live my life and getting control of it. And money just was like one layer that was underpinning all of this in my relationship with money. So, how I got into this work was yes, through my own personal journey, but also I have a background in, like, my bachelor's is in business management, accounting, and finance. I used to work for a company that helped people budget and manage their money.
Oh, wow.
And then I started my life coaching practice and went really deep into personal growth, mindset shifts, again, from healing my own
Mhm.
personal development relationship with myself because I did have some major life rock bottoms. And so then eventually in my business, I decided to combine the money tangible skill sets that I had kind of kicked to the curb and bring it back to the forefront and combine that with the coaching work and the coaching skill sets that I had because there's so many people that struggle with this issue and I realized I had all the skills to really help people with it.
That's amazing. I feel like there's so much like underlying issues that come with money. And then once we unpack it, it's just never ending.
Totally. Yeah. And, I say often that money is one of the deepest levels of personal growth that you can experience because it's really not just about money itself. Like your money is a reflection of your relationship with yourself. It underpins your self-worth, your identities, your beliefs of if you're worthy and deserving of receiving, if you're good enough. It also ties into like safety and stability and all the
Right.
basic survival fear mechanisms. So even if you've done a lot of personal growth in a lot of ways, like money can still be that thing holding you back, which is why I especially love to do this work with other coaches and other people who have really been on the personal growth journey because money is like that final frontier in a lot of ways.
Right. Do you find that the mindset aspect is more important than like the financial strategy? Like as a fractional CFO and accountant, I feel like I can give my clients like all the strategies, but there is resistance because they haven't done the mindset work.
Yeah, I would say from my experience, like it's hard to say objectively, like the mindset work is more important, but I
Yeah.
really think they go hand in hand. And I think the problem is most people are focusing on one and not both. And that's the problem. Because exactly like you said, like you can do the tangible work and you can like tell your clients exactly what to do or here's the strategy, but it's not really going to change what they think about money, their mindset,
Yeah.
and therefore it's also not going to change your patterning, like your habits, your the way you actually spend and think about money.
Mhm.
So you really have to do the mindset, but also I've found that it kind of goes the other way around too because a lot of my clients they're into the mindset work. They've been doing the mindset work, but
Yeah.
I find that when you can see your numbers really clearly and when you can see your money really clearly, having that awareness around what is actually happening and getting that on paper, that actually shifts your mindset. Like I've had clients who've been really stressed about money and feel like they never have enough. And we've done the
Mhm.
mindset work, we've done the internal work, we've gotten them really comfortable in being ready to face their money. We've worked on the stories, the beliefs. But then when they see their numbers clearly, they're like,
Right.
oh, I actually have more money than I expected. And it changes their mindset big time. Or even if the situation's not great and they are stressed and they're like, yep, this kind of confirms my fears, it's like, but now I can actually do something about it. I know how much money I need, or I know
Mhm.
the pieces that I can change. And so it puts the control back in their hands. So I find that the tangible work can really enhance the mindset work, but also you have to do the mindset first. Otherwise, the tangible work won't matter.
That's a good perspective.
Yeah, I mean, you must face this too with your clients all the time. I wonder, like, how does that show up, the tangible and the intangible combination?
Yeah, I always feel like it's like even booking calls, I find people like cancel their consulting calls or they want to postpone it. Even when they're on the call, they just want to get it over and done with. There's so much resistance.
Totally. Yeah. And I mean, it makes sense that people have a lot of fear
Yeah.
around looking at your money, seeing your money clearly, and really facing the situation. And also, I hear a lot of like, what's the benefit of
Right.
looking at it? What's the point of doing this? Like, I already feel like I don't have enough. I don't really spend that much. Like, what's the point? Or actually, I have lots of money. Like, I don't need to worry about it. I shouldn't have to worry about it. And
Right.
so it's really interesting to notice the fear avoidance, but something that I tell my clients is, well, listen, if you're afraid to face the situation, you're afraid of what you're going to find, looking at it doesn't actually change the situation at all. You already feel stressed about it. You're already living
Mhm.
in this situation. Like, just putting the numbers on paper doesn't change the situation, but it does put you in control of the
Right.
situation. So you've already survived it. You've already been surviving it. So there's actually nothing you could discover that you're
Mhm.
not already living and surviving through.
That's so true. Yeah, I find like even opening like your bank account app and just looking at the numbers, that becomes like a self-worth issue and like there's so much shame around money.
Yeah, big time, right? Because we really do, we're trained to attach our value, our worth, our measure of success, like who we are as individuals based on our money. in a lot of ways. And I know, like, in my own personal journey, that played a huge role in how hard I was working, how I was pushing for success. It was because I was trying to earn self-worth, like trying to earn, okay, I am worthy, I am deserving, I'm good enough. When really, like, how can we separate our self-worth and our identity from a number outside of us, like try to receive this external validation, and how can we find that within ourselves so that no matter what happens, like no matter how much money we have in the bank account, no matter what challenges we're faced, no matter the highs and lows of life, like you can still be solid in yourself no matter what, so that you can actually move forward from the situation.
That's so helpful. And what made you like merge your like business finance background with more like spiritual and like mindset?
Yeah, so after I got my bachelor's degree, it was about 1 month later when I started my coaching business. And I wasn't planning on starting a coaching business. I just got the coaching certification because it would be a good skill to have. And by the time I was done with the 2 week intensive training, I was like, this is what I'm doing. And I just went
Wow.
all in on it. And I started my coaching business, which was primarily focused on just general life coaching, personal growth, personal development, and especially around cultivating self trust, self love, self confidence, and really discovering who you are and what's important to you. Because that was so much of my foundation after I hit my own rock bottom, was like my own self discovery journey and really cultivating that self trust. And so I was really focused on that, and at the same time was continuing to like say yes to a bunch of other things that lit me up. So I got my yoga teacher training, I became a Reiki
Oh,
practitioner.
wow.
So I just kept adding a bunch of skill sets and, getting other coaching certifications, which are more focused on trauma release and reframing your mindset and your stories. I started traveling and attending tons of retreats all over the country and all over the world. And I was just focused on like the internal work. The way that I like to say it is I went from full on business mode to
Yeah.
full on hippie mode, and I took a total 180, and I was like, screw all things business. I went from like wearing heels and blazers to like bare feet and flowy pants basically.
Wow.
Yeah, but then it was a year into my coaching business of like floundering around and figuring it out when I was having a conversation with a friend who I had met on a retreat, and she was also a coach and had a full-time job and was trying to build her coaching business, and was thinking like, how could I ever how could I ever go full time in my coaching business? How could I ever support myself with this work when I have a good solid 9 to 5 job and I still feel like I'm living paycheck to paycheck? Like every
Right.
single month, where the heck is my money going? And I was like, on this call with her, and I realized, oh my gosh, I actually have a lot of skills to help you with this. And in that moment, it was just such an aha moment for me. I was like, okay, this is what I'm meant to do, because not everybody has like this combination of skill sets, and yet
Right.
so many people struggle with this one issue. So then I coached her, I helped her to manage her money, and from there I just like dove all in on this area of coaching and just have committed to it since then.
Wow. That's so powerful. It's
It's
like a
been
light
really
bulb
cool.
moment.
Yes, yeah. It was also like the first time in my business when like before that I was trying to create things. I was like, I'm going to create this program. I'm going to do this
Yeah.
thing. People want it, but this was an example of someone coming to me with a problem and being like, I
Right.
actually have this problem. And I was like, "Oh, okay. I need to stop like creating my own stuff and just address like the real problems that are right here in front of me."
So going forward, did you like more like specialize your programs to be based more on like money mindset and the type of client you were working with?
Yes, yes. So I remember that was in the fall of 2021 was when I started working with this client and had this conversation with this woman, and I remember in the like January of 2022 making the conscious decision in my business to say I'm just going to focus on empowered abundance, which is my abundance program, for 1 whole year, because I was like multi-passionate. I was like, I love
Yeah.
yoga, I love Reiki, I have all these other ideas, like I could do so many things. I was even like selling essential oils, like I
Oh,
was
wow.
just doing
Doing
everything.
everything.
Yeah, and so it was kind of hard for me to decide I'm just going to focus on one thing, but that's what I did. I made a committed decision, and then since then it's been tons of years of just like fully committing, fully going all in. And now it's been 4 years. So I've gone past that 1 year commitment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been really, really cool.
How do you help like women move from a place of like scarcity to feeling more abundant?
Yeah, and a lot of it ties into, these foundations that we've talked about today. And I think the first step is really getting clear on what your relationship with money actually is, right? Because you have this relationship with money, you have feelings, you have thoughts, you have a whole story around it. It's
Right.
impacting you every single day, like when you check your bank account, what you choose to spend on, what you don't choose to spend on, how you feel when you do spend, before and after. So we have this relationship with money, but we don't recognize that we have this relationship. We feel like, this is kind of just the way life is. I can't change
Right.
this. I can't do anything about this. Everyone just feels this way. And so, first is really bringing awareness to what is your relationship with money? How do you feel? Like, is scarcity mindset thinking a huge part of your life? Is that impacting how you make decisions, how you show up, what you choose, what you don't choose in your life? And having that awareness is really valuable. The next step that I do is like uncovering, where does this scarcity come from? Because it's something that is learned. It's something that is ingrained, because
Right.
inherently, like, nature is abundant. We live in a world of abundance. It's like, if you have one tomato, that tomato is full of seeds, and that tomato plant is like infinite future tomatoes. But we
Yeah.
don't always recognize that in our human existence, because we learned and we were taught these themes of not enough. Like, there's not enough to
Right.
go
There's so
around.
much lack.
Right. There's not enough for everybody. Like, you're not good enough. You're not worthy. You're not deserving. So it's recognizing, like, what were the stories that you were taught about money growing up, especially in childhood and especially from your
Mhm.
parents. So I help my clients to like uncover that. What are the seeds of scarcity? What are the core primary beliefs that you have around money and self-worth, and where were these learned from? And once you're able to really see that objectively,
Yeah.
you can rewrite those stories. You can shift these beliefs. You can shift these patternings, but you have to first dig to discover where the seeds were implanted in the first place. And so I think that's really a foundational step.
Would you recommend like journaling as like a first step and asking yourself those type of questions?
I think that's an easy way to start to uncover this, is to journal and reflect, like, where did this come from, especially if you can pinpoint the specific memory and the specific moment in time when it happened. I am an enlifted certified coach, and that is coaching specifically around rewriting these stories. And something that we talk about in the enlifted method is that story work is different than typical journaling. Journaling
Okay.
is typically like, I'm just going to write about how I'm feeling or like how my
Yeah.
day is going, which is like semi valuable. Like, there's some value in like reflecting, but a different practice is actually pinpointing, what was the moment in time that really instilled this belief? What are the memories from my childhood that still carry an emotional charge to them? I still feel that fear or guilt or shame or
Mhm.
whatever happened in that moment. It's still carrying a belief and it's still carrying an emotion. And if you can pinpoint those moments that are still creating your present day narrative in your life, they're impacting the way you show up, what you believe, right? This is like imposter syndrome, big time. Like, all
Right.
that imposter syndrome was learned from a
Yeah.
moment in time. And you're able to write down that story, like, write down what actually happened that instilled that belief. Like, that's going to go so much further to help you really get to the root of it and not just be like aware of it.
That's such a great idea.
It makes a really big difference, I've seen with my clients. And then, there's other steps that I typically like walk my clients through, but even that first step is like really powerful. And the truth is, like, anyone can do it.
What are your thoughts on like avoidance altogether and not even bothering like digging deep or just like kind of running on like autopilot?
Yeah, well, I think that that's fine. That's totally cool. If that's what you want to do, awesome. But the question is, are you satisfied and happy and content with the life you're
Yeah.
living? If you are, and you got some good programming, great. Like stay on autopilot. That's awesome. Like no one is forcing you to do this. I think it's a choice that you get to do. But
Right.
the question is like if you're not satisfied living this way, if you wish your life was different, if you wish you weren't as stressed about money, or you wish you could say yes to things you feel like you have to say no to, if you constantly feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck, if money keeps you awake at night, if you wish you could go all in on your business but it feels impossible, right? If you are feeling unfulfilled in your life, then it's important to recognize that you can actually change it. And I think that's the difference is so many of us are living on autopilot and we just
Right.
take autopilot as like the default. We're just like, yes, this is just the way life is. I can't do anything about it. I can't change it. But the truth is like you can actually turn off autopilot and take your
Mhm.
hands and put them on the wheel, and you can even like reprogram the process, like the beliefs, the thought process, the story, the narrative, so that you can learn a new way. Like you can learn a new mindset, you can learn new ways that you make your decisions. And then those decisions will then impact your life and it will actually change your reality. It will change your results. You will literally manifest and step into a new reality. And then what's really cool is as you do this work, as you shift your mindset over time, what happens is it becomes ingrained and it becomes habitual, and then it actually becomes a new autopilot. So eventually, the things that were once challenging and difficult, and you're like doing the reprogramming, eventually that
Yeah.
becomes easier. Just like driving a car for the first time. You're like, like now I know how to do it, and I can drive my car without thinking about it consciously at all. I can talk on the phone. And so you develop this unconscious competency that just allows you to drive and go. And eventually with the personal growth journey, that's what happens with your mindset is you actually
Right.
come back onto autopilot, but it's an actual autopilot that's like driving you in the direction that you want to go instead of like some
Yeah.
other direction that you don't want to go in.
Wow. I feel like this conversation's so powerful and so eye-opening.
It's so simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yet
We just
like in
overcomplicate it.
right. It's so simple. Honestly, like you can manifest anything you want to manifest. You just got to like follow a few simple steps and it's going to change your whole entire life. And I think one of the first steps is realizing that you actually have the power to do that.
Right. And I feel like a lot of times we're looking for that instant gratification or instant results, and then people just give up too quick.
Yeah, totally. Because it does take a process of relearning, repatterning over time. And especially like something that I see in the abundance space a lot too is, and this kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier with the only focusing on the tangible or only focusing on the intangible. Like I see a lot of people who are resistant to really looking at their money and haven't done that step yet, but they're
Yeah.
also trying to shift their money mindset and trying to step into abundance. And so you're like repeating a bunch of abundant affirmations and like being
Right.
like I am abundant like all the time, which
Yeah.
I think that affirmations are great. I think that they're really powerful. But it's like you're trying to do a thought override is how I describe it. And
Yeah,
so this is
100%.
this is the analogy I love to give to my clients. So imagine you wanted to plant this luscious, vibrant vegetable garden. And so you go outside to your yard and your lawn and you take a bunch of seeds and you just start chucking it at the grass. And you're like, "Yes, plant some carrots." Right? Like the
Right.
likelihood that those seeds are really going to stick and take root and grow into the flourishing garden that you want is pretty minimal. I mean, if you keep doing that over a really long period of time, in a couple of years, you probably will get there, but it's like the
Right.
slow route. It's like really the scenic route. So that's like affirmations. You're taking your affirmations and you're throwing it on top of everything that's already there. And so it's hard for those affirmations to really take root versus going outside to your lawn, recognizing, looking at all the grass and weeds and stuff that's there that you don't want to be there,
Hmm.
digging it up and getting it out of the grass, tilling the soil, getting a really fertile base, and then planting the new seeds. you're going to grow a garden so much faster because the soil is ready to receive it. And so affirmations and that type of work is great, but it goes so much further when you've done the foundational steps of uncovering your seeds of scarcity and getting to the root of the actual issue and laying some really strong foundations so that when you plant these abundant seeds, they
Right.
actually grow into something.
That's such a powerful analogy.
Yeah, it's
And what are
fun.
your thoughts on like affirmations like specific to you? Because I know you can find like generalized ones like on ChatGPT or like even on social media. Like how important is it to have affirmations that represent you versus just like a vague thing that doesn't really align with you?
Oh my gosh, it's vital. So this again comes back to like creating that fertile soil too. Like
Right.
so in my program there's a couple steps I walk my clients through. The first step is awareness, which we've already talked a lot about, like bringing awareness to what's currently there
Right.
internally with your mindset, but then also with the money, like what's actually happening. The second step is vision, because once you've gotten clear on where you are, that's where you can get clear on where you want to go. And so in the
Mhm.
visioning process with my clients, I teach them how to like craft a really clear vision, but make it very powerful in a way that resonates with you deeply and where you're actually like embodying it and integrating it and seeing it as true now. And so this is where powerful, aligned, like very connected to you intentions come in, because that's
Right.
the difference between just like saying something over and over again that you don't really believe and actually like planting these new seeds and anchoring it into reality. And so one of the key pieces that I teach my clients in this vision phase is you have to collect evidence that this is already true now, because that programs your brain to believe it as reality. It's
Right.
super different than just being like, I'm a millionaire, I'm a millionaire. I don't really believe I'm a millionaire, but I'm just going to keep saying it. Like, that's
Yeah.
pretty slow and steady. That's kind of like that thought override. You're just chucking
Hmm.
like seeds that aren't like they can't grow in that environment. They can't grow in this climate. Like, you have to raise your climate up to
Yeah.
be ready to receive like a palm tree. You know, I live in like a colder place. Like, I can't plant a palm tree unless I raise my climate up. That's a weird
Yeah.
analogy I've never used before, but I feel like it fits. Um, so so you have to like collect this evidence of, okay, maybe I'm not a millionaire, but I have plenty of money for everything I want and need. Like, how can you
Right.
see that as true? How can you collect examples of, oh, it is true. Like, I was able to buy food this week. I actually wanted to take a trip and I found a way to do it. Like, all
Yeah.
the things that I want and need, like, I found ways to be able to do it. So, how can you find the affirmation or the new belief you're instilling that is most in alignment with where you are now, and then anchor that in with evidence of truth so that you can continue to shift more and more into it. That belief needs to be like just on the edge of your comfort zone. It needs to be believable, and then from there you can expand like into higher level beliefs.
Got it. So it's better off starting small and then building your way up.
Yeah, you want to find. So I love to talk about like the stretch. So you have your comfort zone that you're living in, and the
Yeah.
comfort zone is your current reality. Like you're whatever you got currently, like you're comfortable with it. That's why you're here. And so if you want
Right.
to change your life or grow, you have to expand your comfort zone to encompass the new thing, like to encompass the vision. And so if you're suddenly just like, all of a sudden I'm going to change my whole entire life, like your
Yeah.
nervous system is going to freak out. That's what causes you to self-sabotage when you try to
Right.
instill like a really big habit suddenly out of the blue. You're going to like go to the gym every day at 6 a.m. for 1 week, and then you're going to stop and you're never going to do it again. So it's
So
like you got
true.
to
Yeah.
find that, you got to find the stretch point. What's on the, like, if you go right to the edge of your comfort zone of the life you're currently living and you just stretch past that comfort zone a bit, it's going to be a bit uncomfortable, but from
Hmm.
that stretch you're going to be able to expand and also integrate that expansion. So you got to always be looking for the stretch. If it's too far outside the stretch, it's just like not going to happen. You can't integrate
Right.
it.
Yeah. Would you say the same applies to like money? Let's say you're making like 5 to 10K right now, but you want the 100K months. Like, is that too far of a stretch?
I think like it depends on where you're at. Like you can be instilling the belief of 100K, and I think that's
Yeah.
awesome. I think what's important is it believable to you? Like do you
Right.
believe that it's possible? If you don't believe it's possible and you're just like repeating it over and over, that belief isn't really getting you that much further versus if you find like, okay, well, I might not be able to hit 100K months, but I do think I could stretch myself to 10K months, and that's a stretch for me. Like it's a little uncomfortable. I'm kind of like, I don't know if I can pull it off, but I think I
Yeah.
can. Like that's really a good like affirmation and a goal to go to. And also too, it's not just the mindset of it, it's also in the reality of it too. Like you
Right.
might think, "Oh, my life's going to be so great when I do expand rapidly and hit those 100K months." But then what happens when you actually hit those 100K months if you're not like primed and
Yeah.
ready to hold that capacity, right? Like the capacity of
Right.
actually delivering at that level, like holding those clients or delivering that
Right.
value. Like you could freak out about that. Like the foundations are not laid and it could all crumble.
Right.
Also, like your capacity to hold money and know what to do with it strategically and intentionally in a safe, grounded way, like that might not be there. It could actually feel
Right.
wildly uncomfortable to have that much money. It can actually be really scary and terrifying. Like people think once I get more money, my life's going to be better and I'm never going to be stressed about money again. That's totally not the case. There's just a different set of stressors that comes with having money, especially if you do it suddenly and you haven't like grown into it. And that's why lottery winners go
I was just
bankrupt.
thinking that.
Right. They go
Right.
bankrupt in just a couple of years because they haven't become the person with the capacity to hold that money, to be safe
Right.
having that amount of money and to know what to do with it. And so they just go back to their previous comfort zone,
Mhm.
which is not having all that amount of money.
Right. Yeah. Feel like having more money just exposes like your money habits and your relationship with money.
For sure. Right. I mean, you can see it on all levels. Like, if you don't have a lot of money, that's going to expose your current relationship with money, but also, especially when you have a lot of money. And this is why I love saying, like, it's not about the amount of money you have, it's about your relationship with money because you can get more and more money and it can still feel like it's not enough. It still
It's not
feels like
enough.
it's slipping through the cracks, right? Because it's not
Right.
about the amount, it's about how you use it, how you wield it, what you think about it. And that's really what makes the difference.
That's so helpful. How does like taking care of yourself and your energy support your business? I know you've overcome like depression, eczema, and burnout. Like, what advice would you give someone that's dealing with health issues or burnout or is just struggling?
Yeah, and I think this really ties into what we are talking about, which is expanded capacity. Capacity is really plays a huge role in this, and business is another like personal growth pressure cooker. In order to
Right.
be successful in your business, you have to be expanding your mindset, healing like all the gunk under the surface. It really requires you to face a lot of shit. Like you just have
Yeah.
to. Because similar to with money, right? If you're attaching your self-worth and your value to your money, like your business is a money-making machine. You have to
Right.
deal with putting yourself out there, putting your offer out there, believing in the value of your offer, believing in the value of you. And then people are going to maybe say yes to that. People are maybe going to reject that. And then do you take that personally as like, they're rejecting me? And then you have
Right.
to deliver. You have to actually deliver the results that you're saying you can deliver. And you have to, in order to sell yourself to anybody, you have to believe that you're capable of delivering. If you don't believe you're capable, it doesn't matter if you follow a sales script and say all the right things, you're going to be
Right.
repelling people. Like your self sabotage version of you is going to come up and be like, nope, we can't sign any clients because when we do, I do not know what I'm going to do with them. So, all this work that we're talking about around money,
Yeah.
like, really impacts your business because it's helping you to uncover the limiting beliefs that are actually holding you back, that are keeping you in your current comfort zone, so that you can increase your belief in your
Mhm.
ability to deliver, to increase your resiliency and your self trust and your own worth, so that even when you get yeses, even when you get nos, no matter what happens, like you can still feel solid and rooted in who you are and not attach your
Yeah.
worth to these external things, and also so that you can keep going. I mean, business really requires you to be uncomfortable in so many ways. It's not easy. That's why lots of people don't do it. And so this is also really a practice of getting comfortable with the uncomfortable and being able to handle a wide range of volatility and
Right.
still be safe and solid within that. And like that's really the foundations of abundance work, in my opinion, is expanding your capacity to fully experience and receive all of life. Because I say all the time, like, if you're trying to expand or grow,
Yeah.
like growth and expansion happens in both directions. Like if you're expanding your capacity to experience like higher highs and like, oh my gosh, life is so amazing, and like really just be in bliss and joy, you have to also expand your capacity to be in the lowest lows. Like you can't,
Mm.
your body can
Yeah.
only go so wide in both, in all directions. So the higher your highs, the lower your lows, and you have to be able to move through and ride through all of those waves, whether that's emotionally or with your money or with your clients or with your business. Like it's all connected. It's all about expanding your capacity to experience the richness of
Right.
life. And that's what true like wealth and abundance is being able to experience and hold all of that richness.
Do you have any like self-care tips that people can do to avoid like burnout?
I think again, like awareness is really important. So I specialize specifically on like awareness around money, but
Mhm.
all of that bleeds into time and energy, because time,
Right.
energy, and money, like they're the three big creators. They're how you create your life, how you manifest your life. So often with our money, when we're not aware of it, we have money leaks. Like it's
Right.
getting spent on subscriptions we don't know about, things like that. So same thing with your time and your energy. Like where are the time leaks? Where are the energy leaks? And the more and more, like the further you go in your business, in your life, the more skilled you become, the more you grow, the more you have to be really conscious and intentional with your time, your energy, and
Right.
your money. Because when you have like an overabundance of time, you don't have a lot of clients, you're just figuring it out, like it's easy to spend a lot of time on these things that aren't really important, but the more that you're like being successful, the more you're actually achieving the things you want to achieve, you have to expand your capacity to like do those things and do more in less time. And so
Right.
recognizing like, where am I leaking? Where am I spending time on things that aren't really important? How can I zero in on what are the most important things? So having time and energy awareness is really important. And also, not just for like when you're working, but also when you're not working. Like this is something I realized in my business big time, is I'm so passionate about my work. Like I wake up and I think
Yeah.
about my business. Like it's what I think about. And so I realized like, oh, I even though I'm only working like however many hours a day, I'm
Right.
actually working all the time, like 24/7. So give yourself that intentional time away from work. Like if you're going to take time to rest, how can you actually let yourself rest fully? How can you give yourself the max capacity of actual restoration? And so I think bringing awareness to your time and energy, like are you thinking about your business outside of when you're working on your business? That's an
Yeah.
energy leak. Like you're diffusing your energy into that time. So that is like foundational. And then just personal things that I love to do, like walks big time for me. Like I wake up, I take a walk first thing in the morning. That's also where I do a lot of my best affirmation work. Like that's when I instill these new beliefs about what I'm creating. That's a super powerful way to start your day. It also helps to integrate the affirmations a little deeper because you're integrating it into your body. You have a set dedicated amount of time. It's kind of like meditating, but you're moving, so you're less likely
Right.
to get distracted. And then also, like if I notice I'm trying to get work done, but I'm just like not focusing, not paying attention in the middle of the day, it's more valuable for me to, instead of push through and just try to do it, like I'm actually
Yeah.
going to take a break and walk away. And I'll take like a midday walk. Sometimes it's barefoot in my backyard, but just give yourself that actual break
Yeah.
fully. Like let yourself break 100% so that you can go back to work like 100%.
That's such a good idea. Yeah, because I feel like even when I'm not working, like I'm thinking about work or feel like I should be working instead of resting.
Totally right. And like just to touch on that, this idea of should, especially around like our money, there's this whole idea of like I should be doing more, I should be working harder,
Yeah,
and this again ties into our self-worth and our belief like how can we be truly in enoughness? Like I have done enough, I am enough. It's all okay. I'm safe. I can survive and it's safe for me. And it's actually even more valuable for me to truly give myself this 100% break and then
right.
give myself the 100% effort later.
Yeah, I feel like it's so ingrained in us that you need to work hard to earn money or you need to trade your time for money.
Exactly. Yes, that's a very common learned
Mhm.
ingrained money story and
Yeah,
belief. And it's so interesting because you might not think that that's related to money. You might just think like this is just the way it is. It's just society.
right,
But what if your relationship with money wasn't dependent on if you feel like you're suffering or not, if you feel like you've worked hard or not, because it's kind of like arbitrary, right? You can
right.
make money and enjoy what you do,
Yeah.
right? But sometimes we think, oh, I didn't earn this, I didn't deserve this, it's unfair. And so that's actually how we block ourselves from really living the lives we want to live, being able to make money, being able to take time off, being able to have that work life balance. Like, what if we just believed that it was true and not selfish and we didn't have to feel guilty about it?
Mhm.
If we were just like, this is the best, it benefits everybody. And of
Right.
course, this is the way life is supposed to be. Like, if you truly, genuinely believed that, then you would create it.
That's so true. Yeah, I feel like it's just a lot of unprogramming.
Exactly. That's what it is. It's like, the tangible work, the strategy work, all of that plays a really huge role. But underneath all of that is belief work and mindset work. And that's something that I have learned big time in the past year in my business. I work with a high ticket business coach. I have invested lots of money in my business, and it's so interesting because I've worked with other business coaches before. But what
Yeah.
I have learned, number one, from this business coach is strategy is just like
Mhm.
what is on top of mindset. Like
Yeah,
anytime you look at strategy, the strategy doesn't matter if the mindset is misaligned. Like you have to
so
have the
true.
beliefs, the mindset in order to even like implement the strategy and implement the strategy in a way where it's actually achieving the results you want to achieve.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much like noise on social media. There's so many coaches, and it's a lot of a lot of information out there, and people just don't know what to do with that information.
Totally. Yeah, for sure. Especially when it is really like all strategy based. I would say like the most important thing is really hone in on what is the priority. Like, what are the essentials for you to be focusing on? And it's not a bunch of like stuff. It's not a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
It's not a bunch of technology. Like, it's just coming back to the foundations of mindset, beliefs, and like, yes, the strategy, but just what's the couple of things
mhm.
that's going to help me move forward, and how can I just focus on a few things at a time. For example, like if you love YouTube and like doing face camera videos is like your favorite thing to do, it's your best style, you really enjoy it, then like do that and just like go all in on that. Or if it's like in-person networking, right? Like you don't need to do the million things, you don't need a website, you don't need it. Like you just really need to hone in on like this is the strategy I'm choosing. This is the thing that works for me. I'm just going to go all in on this and commit to this fully and then focus on my mindset, my self concepts, and my beliefs until I get really good at this. Like, if you do that, you're going to be successful. It's more about persistence and commitment than it is any strategy.
Yeah, and I feel like just doing what feels good to you, because a lot of times people are working with the coaches and they're saying, follow this step by step, but it doesn't feel aligned with the person.
Yeah, yeah. I think this goes two ways. Like, it has to feel aligned with you in order to be successful, but also you can align yourself with the strategy to make it successful.
Right.
But you want to be intentional about what you're doing that with. Like, again, you want to hone in on, like, this is the strategy. And even if it doesn't fully feel in alignment, even if there's still some discomfort, like, I'm going to go all in on this for 1 to 3 years, and I'm going to learn how to get comfortable with it, and I'm going to learn how to get really good with it, right? So I think it's a bit of both. Like you can shift yourself to align with it and
Right.
overcome whatever's the gunk that's telling you it's not aligned, but
Yeah.
also like find the thing that is in alignment with you too, you know?
Yeah. Based on what you're saying, I feel like it's just like curiosity.
Yeah, for sure, right? And I think it's easy to get like overwhelmed and feel like curious about a lot of things, especially early on in your business. And like that's what I did was I was figuring out like what's my thing, what am I focusing on, what am I doing? But I would say that like I think that time's valuable. Like that time is valuable, but then the earlier you're able to lock in and say
Right.
like this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm committing to, then the faster you're going to make progress. And that's something that I found from really investing in myself. I've invested a ton in my
Yeah.
business, and I have found that that has really enabled me to commit to the things that are most important to me, as opposed to just being like, I'm going to take advice from this like freebie and this like little cheap program, and then I'm going to do this. Like
Right.
that type of investing caused me to really separate my energy, separate my focus, be focusing on a bunch of different things at the same time instead of
Mhm.
just zeroing in and being like, this is what I'm prioritizing, this is what I'm doing. Just like when I committed all into empowered abundance, and then when I found like this coach that I'm working with now, I'm like, okay, this is my coach. This is the method. Like, this is what I'm
Right.
doing. And because I've invested a high ticket amount of money to it, I'm like locked in. So it took some like figuring out to lock in, but also the sooner you can just lock in and commit, the further you're going to go, because then all your energy and your momentum is like moving in one direction instead of like I'm going to go over here and then over there. Like you're
Right.
you're you're
You're so
zigzagging.
distracted.
Mhm.
What's the best way for our audience to like connect with you or work with you? What type of clients do you work with?
Yeah, so my work really benefits tons of different people wherever you're at your journey in your journey, but my favorite clients to work with are entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs, coaches, healers, personal trainers, people who want to go all in on your business, who want to live a different life than this life we've been taught we're supposed to live in
Right.
society. So if you want to maybe break free from a 9 to 5 job, or you've already started your business and you have some like side gigs you want to get rid of, or you have your business but you still feel stressed about money and you want to no longer feel stressed when it comes to your money, those are the types of people that I help. And really what I do is I help you feel in control of your money so that you can be in control of your life, and so that you can really consciously and intentionally manifest the life that you want to live and use your money as a tool to help you get there. And that's really the work that we do. And we do it by combining this deep, important mindset work with also the tangible work around your money. But again, like we've talked about today, that bleeds into every area of your life. Like your money impacts
Right.
every area of your life. It translates to time, it translates to energy, and also it's the deepest level of personal growth and development, right? When you shift your relationship with money, what you're doing is you're transforming your relationship to yourself, and it's going to impact your entire life in a really big way. It's going to help the money that you have feel like enough and help you shift into abundance now. And that energy is also what opens up the door for more to flow in. And so, if you're curious to learn more about this work and you want to learn more about the Empowered Abundance program, you can actually book a free session with me. This is a free 30-minute deep dive abundance activation session where we're going to explore your current relationship with money,
Wow.
where you're at, where you're starting from, and then your vision, where you want to go, what you want to create, and then I'll help you craft a path to get there and to make it happen. So if you're interested, you can book that free session with me on my website, thebizhippie.com/activate.
That's so amazing. I'll share Scarlett's details in the show notes. Thanks so much, Scarlett, for joining me on her Wealthy Mindset today.
Thank you for having me today, Cindy. This was a great conversation.
I feel like we could talk for hours. We'll definitely need a
To-
part two.
yes, for sure.